The drink is sweet, spicy, and the taste of a raw egg is very strong. Maybe this is due to the fact that I couldn't separate the yolk from the protein, but added a raw egg there. Yes. Well, I didn't succeed. Cheers! Greetings, BROADAXE viewers! Today I decided to join the Knightly Order again. I really enjoy joining organization where you have to wear heavy metal armor. This time I joined the Livonian Brotherhood of the Sword Bearers, the Soldiers of Christ. This is the Order of the Swordsmen, which later became the Landmaster of the Teutonic Order, also known as the Livonian Order. You're probably at loss as to who are they and why they have so many names. Now I will tell you a little about this Knights Club. The Order of the Swordsmen was founded by the Germanic Knights and the Bishop of Riga in the early 13th century for missionary work in Livonia. The knights preached with fire, sword and cross. They took over territories, built castles and engaged in standard missionary activities. The order got its names from the image of the sword on the capes of the knights. After the Order of the Swordsmen was firmly entrenched in Livonia, the knights began to pray with missionary activity to all neighbors, to Lithuanian, Novgorod, but not for long. Lithuanian pagans kicked their ass, killed all the knights and even killed the master. It would seem the checkmate, the end of the German presence in Livonia and the end of the Order of Swordsmen. However, the successful Teutonic Order intervened. He adopts the Order of the Swordsmen with all the property, castles and most importantly with the lands. The Teutons sent their knights and money to help. After that, the sword bearers become the Livonian branch of the Teutonic Order. The order is within the order, with its own autonomy, its own master and with the same capes. In general, it turned out something similar to two half-brothers. The older one is the Teutonic Order, the younger one is Livonian. The Livonian Order was from a Teutonic family, listened to its older brother, but was on its own. The Livonian Knights, with the support of the Teutons, returned to their favorite missionary position. To missionary activity. They continued to pray with the redoubled enthusiasm for all the neighbors. Would you like to talk about our beloved God? No? And what about swords? By the way, Alexander Nevsky defeated the Livonian Knights in the battle on Chudskoye Lake. All this missionary activity ended on the 16th century. By that time the Livonian Order had borrowed all its neighbors. Since the Teutonic Order as a state no longer existed, there was no one to help. Soon the Livonian Order became a confederation of the Livonian lands. A little later, in the middle of the 16th century, Livonian lands became a tasty morsel for neighbors. All this clever conversation made me very hungry. Now we will find out what the knights ate in Livonia. We mustn't forget that I am a knight of the order and not a peasant in iron. This means that we, the knights of the order, have everything according to the charter. Therefore, before eating, I will put on a statutory hat. Let's eat now. This porridge-like dish is called putra. This is not ordinary porridge. Putra, unlike other representatives, was made from 2 or 3 cereals. Each cereal was cooked separately until puree. Then everything got mixed up. They also added onions, fish, meat, bacon, in general everything that was. However, this is not at all. The resulting dish was filled with any fermented milk product. Sour cream, curdled milk, sour milk were added, and then they ate. Now putra is prepared with the addition of mashed potatoes. My putra is made according to the classic medieval recipe from pearl barley porridge and peas with meat and onions. Sauerkraut is a traditional German dish. This cabbage was eaten with great pleasure by both knights and peasants, and since most of the Livonian knights came from Germanic lands, they brought the tradition of fermenting and eating cabbage with them. In addition to bread, the Livonians took on a hike traditional for the region barley cakes. In the Livonian lands, such cakes are called mishuplazanites. They were more practical on hikes than bread, because they took up less space, stayed fresh longer, were more nutritious and were easier to make than bread in the field. Smoked meat. The lands of Livonia were rich in wild animals. The indigenous population constantly hunted, but after the order established itself with its ideology in these lands, then hunting for most of the animals was prohibited. Hunting became the lot of knights and people of the noble class. Of course, poachers have always existed, but only in the Middle Ages. They faced severe punishment in the form of the death penalty or cutting off their hands. The meat of killed animals in the hunt or slaughtered domestic animals, which didn't have time to eat immediately, was smoked and salted, for future use or for hiking. Fish and various seafood from the Baltic Sea were a frequent addition to the knight's diet. Herring was in great demand. It was salted, smoked, fried. As a rule, they took salted herring on hikes. All the fish in the wagon train were transported in barrels. So let's get started. First, I'll pour sour cream over the putra. This time I have a double porridge, barley and peas. The only thing I'm worried about is how the sauerkraut will get along in my stomach with sour cream. What if they start a revolution there and knock out the bottom? If you don't try, you won't know. You know, I was preparing for the taste of putra to be much worse. Barley, peas, sour cream and lard were supposed to become some kind of abomination. But in the end it turned out to a delicious dish. I even liked this porridge, although in the place of cooks I would replace sour cream with mayonnaise and add more salt, but with the sauerkraut salt isn't needed. I like the scones too. Unlike most barley flour tortillas, they are made from cereals. First, the barley is soaked, then flour and egg are added, and then such lovely cakes are baked. And also sauerkraut. I admit, I love sauerkraut, especially the good old homemade. Its taste is different from that sold in supermarkets. Sorry friends, I ate well and satisfied my hunger with Livonian dishes. Now it's time for my favorite part of the meal, a drink. A German without a beer is like a modern American without a cola. However, at this stage, the Livonian knights faced a certain problem. The Livonian lands didn't always have good weather for cold beer, but I really wanted to drink cold beer after a hard shift in the garrison or on a halt on a campaign. Therefore, the enterprising Livonian knights invented the Livonian beer punch. The beer that was available was divided in two halves. The first one was boiled with caraway seeds, and the second, still cold, was added with honey and raw egg yolk. Then it was thoroughly mixed and then added to the boiled part. The resulting mixture was again thoroughly mixed and heated, but not allowed to boil. I made Livonian beer punch. Let's taste it. Nice smell. I haven't tasted it. To be honest, this is the first time during the filming that I don't like alcohol. Despite the presence of beer, honey, eggs and spices, it turned out to be some kind of abomination. I am very sad. Maybe the herring will fix the taste. Moreover, I still have herring and smoked meat for a snack. It tastes much better with meat and herring. Make sure I don't get drunk. If something wrong, stop me. No need to cry later. Oh, it's too many alcohol doubles. Okay, stop eating. It's time to start working. But first I'll finish my beer. Disgusting. What else should I drink? All beer is ruined. They made a stupid beer punch out of it. It would be better just to drink cold beer with herring or meat. But no, it's too cold in Livonia and we will all freeze. Well, let's sum up the results of our nightly meal. The German knights, in addition to their ordnance, brought their culinary traditions to the Livonian lands. That is why we come across typical Livonian dishes which are side by side with German dishes. The Swordsmen, and later the Livonian knights, lived as beneficed knights according to the charter. At first, they used the strict Templar charter, but then they switched to a softer one, Teutonic. In peacetime, the knight who was in the fortress had to eat according to the following schedule: 3 days a week meat dishes, 3 days a week cereals, milk and eggs, and on a Friday lean dishes. However, during the war and campaigns, all restrictions on food were removed. The knights had to eat a lot and hearty. The knight never cooked anything. For this, there was a special order servants. During the campaigns, food was obtained from several sources. First, there was a wagon train with food. Secondly, they hunted. And thirdly, missionary activity, robbery of civilians. I am tired of historical injustice. Everyone believed that Alex Nevsky defeated the Teutonic Knights. No! We were the Livonians. The Teutons didn't care about Novgorod and Pskov. They constantly fought with the Poles, then with the Lithuanians. And we fought with the Rus, the Livonians. On the other hand, we were part of the Teutonic Order, but we had wide autonomy, different capes and our own master. Formally, we obeyed the Teutonic Order. Damn! Friends, who do you think Alexander Nevsky defeated on Chudskoye Lake? The Teutons or the Livonians? Write in the comments. Of course, don't forget to subscribe on our channel and send donations so that we can continue to delight you with our videos. Stay with us, more to come soon!